Are you not sure which platform to use to reach out to potential prospects for your cold outreach? Well, if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to answer all your questions. So, the first thing is you need to know your audience. So, who exactly are you targeting? Because if you're targeting lawyers, that's going to be a lot different than if you're targeting a gym owner or a banker. So, the next thing you want to ask yourself is where do these people spend the most time? So, if you quickly think about it, a lawyer's probably not going to spend most of his time on Instagram. A lawyer probably spends most of his time in his email inbox because he's receiving emails from, his clients or other lawyers. You get the point. So, the next step is you want to understand each platform's strengths and weaknesses. So, for Instagram, this is good if your potential clients offer like a highly visual product, meaning like real estate or maybe a med spa or something of that nature. So the next step, oh, sorry, let me back up here. So you can target these individuals based on hashtags, geotags, or just their engagement with other influence in their niche. So for Facebook, this is going to be easy to find prospects based on niche specific groups. So you can easily just go into Facebook and find dog walking groups, what other groups are there? You can find groups around, medical care. You can find groups on pretty much anything on Facebook. So this is going to be the easiest to find prospects. And this is good for targeting most industries. So if you're wanting to target construction or professional services or hospitality, it's great to use, but you still need to figure out where they spend the most time because you can't just guess. Like although most people, yeah, they do have a Facebook account, people that are working in a hospital or maybe like a lawyer, like I mentioned in the last example, chances are they aren't spending most of their time on Facebook. So now let's talk about LinkedIn. So this is perfect for building professional relationships, and this is excellent for high ticket sales and B2B interactions. So maybe you're targeting custom home builders or investors or software companies. This is probably going to be the channel that you actually want to look at reaching out to these people on, as this is where most of them hang out in these niches. So this is going to be where it's going to be easiest to contact them. So the next platform is going to be email. So this is more formal and professional. So if you are reaching out to, say, dentists or lawyers or maybe medical professionals, this is probably where you're going to want to start. So this allows you to have like a longer, detailed message because when you're messaging or DMing people on Facebook and Instagram, it's not like an email. You can't send somebody this thing that's 3 paragraphs long because they're just not even going to read it. So for email, you're gonna probably want to be targeting professional services. Then the next one is SMS and WhatsApp. So this is best for follow-ups and warm leads. And this can be seen as a little bit intrusive, when people all of a sudden, look at their text messages and here you are and they don't know anything about you or who you are. And I also do want to mention that it's not legal in most countries. So if you don't have their consent to actually send them these text messages, they could take legal action. Now, I'm not a lawyer, and most people, they're probably just going to be pissed off and they're not going to go call their lawyer and be like, yeah, I need to sue this guy that sent me a text message without my consent. That's probably not going to happen. But just to stay safe, and avoid legal repercussion, you probably don't want to use SMS or WhatsApp and send people cold messages unless you have their consent. So the next platform is Twitter. So this is less formal, and this is great for targeting startups, agencies, or e-commerce companies. And the good thing about Twitter is it gives you the ability to send 500 DMs per one account. So if you know anything about outreach on any of the other platforms that I mentioned, like Facebook and Instagram, the most you can send, well, the most that's recommended to send to fly under the radar would be 50 messages a day. So if you wanted to send 1,000 messages per day, let's say, you would need to have 20 accounts. Whereas with email, it's actually the same. I should have included it as well. To stay underneath the radar, you can only send 50 emails a day per email account, unless you want to run into problems and maybe lose your accounts. So Twitter is really good because just from one account, you can send 500 DMs. So let's just say you have two accounts. You can easily automate the process and be sending 1,000 DMs a day. So the next thing you want to do is assess your offer. So if you're offering something that's kind of more visual, like short form content, you might want to consider reaching out to people on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Because let's face it, if you're reaching out to a lawyer trying to do short form content, it's probably not going to be that interested. And, everyone knows that they need to be creating content, but for somebody in that case, short form content is probably better off for people, or not for people, for niches that you would target on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. So now, if you're reaching out to like business coaching and consultants, you might want to consider LinkedIn or email, being this more professional, and you can send a longer message, kind of outlining a little bit more on how you can help them. So from there, you want to evaluate your resources. So I touched on this a little bit earlier in the video. So Instagram and Facebook, in my opinion, is going to be best for beginners because it's going to be a lot easier for you to target leads. You're not going to have to go scrape leads from well, I shouldn't say you're not going to have to go scrape leads from somewhere, but it's a good place for you to get started because all the leads are in one place. Email is also good for beginners, but it does have a lot of moving parts. So what I mean by moving parts is, you have to build the list. So you have to go online somewhere, find where your target audience is. You have to scrape all that information. You have to verify the emails that you scrape, which cost additional money. Then you have to figure out a good subject line because just because you have, let's say, a list of 1,000 lawyers and you reach out to them, if your subject line doesn't pique their curiosity, you might send 1,000 emails and only 10% of them are even open. So in that case, if only 10% of those 1,000 people are reading your email and then your offer isn't on point, you might not get very many meetings. So on top of that, you're going to need additional software. So you're going to need like an email automation software, like what's that one called? Instantly.ai. And then you're going to have to verify the emails. So then you're going to have to use a software like NeverBounce or something like that to verify the emails. So it can get quite expensive when you're running cold email. From there, you want to test the platform's responsiveness. So if you're still not sure on what platform you should use to reach your potential clients, just start off with a couple platforms and just test in small batches. That way you can kind of see like what are your response rates, and then you want to track your metrics and make a decision based on that data. So from there, just don't spread yourself too thin. Don't say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to do them all at once and see which one gives me the best results," because it takes a lot of time and effort to actually come up with a good campaign. So if you're on 5 different platforms and you're a solopreneur, you might find yourself getting a little bit overwhelmed and burnt out trying to make sure you have leads for all these avenues. So from there, you want to consider the platform rules and etiquette. So what I mean by that is Instagram and Facebook, it's casual and conversational. So you can reach out to people and be like, "Yo, bro, what's up?" And that's fine. And you can send 50 DMs a day. If you're on LinkedIn, it's more professional and formal. So you're not going to reach out to someone saying like, "Yo, bro, what's good?" Because it's just not going to resonate and it's not the place for that. And you can only send 20 DMs a day on LinkedIn. So you might want to take that into consideration. Just to send 200 DMs a day, you would then need 10 accounts. So that can be, a little bit costly. And then you're going to have to start purchasing other softwares to hide your IP address. Because if you're logging in and out of 20 different or 10 different accounts, I'm pretty sure that's against LinkedIn's terms of service, and you will get banned. Now, if you're choosing to use email, this is more professional and formal, like I had mentioned before. So you're also not going to reach out to people saying "yo" or any abbreviations or sending emojis or anything like that. So you want to take that into consideration. And then, like I mentioned, you can only send 50 emails a day if you want to stay safe and fly under the radar. And then you have Twitter, which is also like Instagram and Facebook. It's pretty casual and conversational. So you can get away with, saying, yo, bro, hey, abbreviations, sending emojis, and people aren't going to be wondering, like, who's this guy that's looking so unprofessional? And like I had mentioned, you can send 500 DMs a day, which is pretty cool because this is a volume game, and the more messages you can get out there and track your responses, the better you'll do. So that's all I have for you when it comes to choosing the right platform to reach out to your potential prospects. And if you found this video valuable, consider dropping a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.